What's good, YouTube? Today we're gonna talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves and Andrew Wiggins, the number one rookie, won a rookie and sophomore game MVP, won rookie of the year, showed so much talent. They even gave him a contract extension worth over $100 million. And looking back at that extension this year, this season, let's talk about Andrew Wiggins, a guy that is a good ISO scorer, kind of old school in that regard. That he likes to get the ball, and he's a good one-on-one player, and he's very difficult to guard because he's lightning quick. He has improved his jump shot to where it's respectable. He's still not a knockdown jump shooter, but he's 23 years old and his jump shot looks a lot better than it did years prior. Um, Especially his rookie season, I seen the potential in him, and he's starting to realize his potential. He is a guy that hasn't been a bust, but hasn't really met his full potential. He has never been an all-star. He has been able to come into the league and make his mark, like I said, with the rookie of the year, with winning the sophomore game, with being a player that averaged some good numbers his rookie year, then come back and average 20 points next season, even though Zach LaVine went down, so they needed him to score more. He was able to average 23 points a game. But you see a guy like Karl Anthony Towns that looks like he's going to be an All NBA player this season. Not only is he an All NBA player, he ended up making the All Star team with Jimmy Butler. Um, and he's been in the league less than Andrew Wiggins, and he was able to be on the All Star team. And it looks like he's gonna make an All NBA team also. Um, and even if you don't, just being an All Star is a major accomplishment, especially for a guy that's Towns' age. Being among the elite is very impressive, and Andrew Wiggins is almost there. The problem I have with Andrew Wiggins is the fact that if he's not isolating, he's not really helping the team much. He still hasn't become the defender that everybody said he can be. Maybe because he hasn't put all the weight on and the muscle on. Maybe it's just because he don't have the effort. Maybe it's just because he just needs some time to care more about playing defense. Same you can say the same about Karl Anthony Town. He has got better and better and better. It's hard to teach these guys when they're used to losing. It's hard to teach these guys when they have these bad habits from being on bad teams. You don't go as hard, you don't practice as hard, you don't play as hard. You have that mentality that we suck. Obviously, you got to break that when you trying to play for a championship, which they have done. Adding T, adding Gibson, adding Jimmy Butler and Jamal Crawford, guys that can come in and give you good minutes, and guys that can come in and change the culture in the team. Because Jeff Teague is a winner. Jimmy Butler has made it to the playoffs. Even last year, he was the best player on the team that went to the playoffs. And obviously, Jamal Crawford been in the playoffs since he became a sixth man of the year mostly. And that's a lot of veteran help. And obviously, Jeff T went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and he made it to the playoffs every year he was in Atlanta, and he was the starting point guard majority of that time. So Andrew Wiggins, for he just don't play good as a role player, and I'm not saying he's never gonna get better at this. He's not gonna be terrible his whole career, but when Andrew Wiggins he steps up more when they ask him to. And what I'm saying is when Jimmy Butler is playing, even though they have a great record, even though they was number 3 in the West for a couple of days and they fell down because they kept losing, Andrew Wiggins honestly is not really a team player to me. Um, he's literally more of an individual talent. The guy can basically do whatever he wants to do. To me, he has the confidence, he has the talent to do it. It's just when you're asking him to play team defense, when you asking him to rotate, when you asking him to guard his position, when you're asking him to shoot threes or come off screens or just play as a team and play as a unit, it's just difficult for him to do, whether he's defending or whether he's scoring. But when he has opportunities when they need him to take over games or opportunities when they need him to step up offensively, he does it, but most of the time, like I said, even with Zach LaVine, it's because he's getting more shot attempts. It's not because he's making the best of his opportunity like a player should do when they play for even a great team, for example. Um, he's shooting at least since his rookie year. His rookie year, he shot 13.9 attempts. This year, he's shooting 15.8. His highest was 19. Like I said, Zach LaVine went down and he got more shots because they had to make up that hole that Zach LaVine left because Zach LaVine was averaging around 20 points when he ended up going down with the ACL. Then he dropped down to the 18 for a couple weeks and then he went down with the ACL. But Andrew Wiggins is averaging 17 points. He's getting okay from the three. I told people that I met in person that Andrew Wiggins might, and this might, people might not like it, but I'm being honest, he needs to embrace more of a Bruce Bowen role, play hard defensively, play in the passing lanes, get out and run in transition, knock down corner threes, continue to move so the defense can react, whether you're trying to do backdoor cuts, whether if you're trying to come off screens and knock down jumpers. It's the little simple things that matter most. I was just at the Milwaukee Bucks game when they played the Sixers, and that was yesterday, Sunday. So it's funny watching a guy like J.J. Redick and Robert Covington. They know what their role is on the team. And obviously, they have expanded their game. They have gotten better. But at the same time, they're not trying to do too much. They still rely on Joel Embiid to set screens, to give them the handoffs. They still rely upon Ben Simmons in transition, giving them layups, open threes, or even when he just runs a play, he knows where to be at on the court, so he makes the right pass, he makes the right play, whether it's dumping it off, kicking it to a three, or just taking a floater or a layup or a dunk. Um, that's something that Andrew Wiggins does have to figure out. You know, if you're going to play for a great team, you're going to have to buy into a team concept offensively and defensively. And honestly, getting Butler, getting Crawford, it has not really, to me, helped him out that much because he's not really a great three-point shooter still. His numbers are up and down this season. He still don't play well when Jimmy Butler and all the team is healthy. He's not playing terrible. He's not playing horrible, but he has to find ways to impact the game other than isolation scoring to me. And it's easier said than done. Man or creatures of habit is what the Bible tells you. So it's hard to break it. It's hard for them to get out of it. Like so I had times where I had to adjust, I had to adapt, and it took, some growing pains and it took some humbling to do this. And it can be hard, especially because you're used to doing it this way. It's hard to change to another way, even if it's for the better. So I understand Andrew Wiggins. I'm not giving up on him. I'm not saying he's never going to be great. He's never going to be a team player. It's just funny watching the Wolves. Every time they need him to score more points or step up offensively, he has done it. But when it comes to a team concept, offensively and defensively, he's just basically a scorer. He can light it up. Even if you look at his numbers since Jimmy Butler been down, 21 points, 23 points, 22 points, 21 points, 27 points, and he's shooting 50, 50, 50, 35 from the field, 52 from the field. But if you look at the games when Jimmy Butler is there, he doesn't have the same impact um, at all. He has to make the best out of his opportunity. And sometimes he does shoot good from the field. Sometimes he has games where he goes off if he has the right matchup or they give him a mismatch and he just takes advantage of it the whole game. The guy is definitely a guy that I want on my team because he has showed the potential to be a star. He has shown potential that he can step up and hit big shots, playing big games, and he has become reliable. But he just need to get the team concept down, and it might take them another year, but they haven't made the playoffs in 14 years. They have an opportunity to do it now. Obviously, if they want to make it far in the playoffs, they're going to need Andrew Wiggins to be better. They're going to need Jimmy Butler to get healthy before the playoffs start so he can come in and give the best he can give for this roster. Karl Anthony Towns still has to play a little harder, a little bit more care on the defensive end. He has shown more signs. He has gotten a little bit better, but he is also a guy that played on a bad team that they were just putting up numbers and was letting everybody basically do anything they wanted to him offensively. But now they're starting to buy into winning. They're starting to care. They're starting to change. You see the improvements. And honestly, they need these two players to step up and have superstar seasons because you want that home court advantage in first round. So you do want the 3 seed. Honestly, you want to get as high as you can going into the playoffs, and they dropped down from the 3 seed, and now Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns gonna have to carry them a little bit more to try to get that 3 seed, even if Jimmy Butler is out. I still think they have enough talent to get that with Taj, with Jamal, with Teague, obviously, and you still have Wiggins and Towns and Gorgie Dang and guys like that. So I like the team. I like what they're doing. I like that they're significantly over 500. They have been able to beat up on the bad teams. They showed that they can compete with some of the teams in the West. Obviously, they're going to still have to be tested against the teams like Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors. Those are teams that you definitely want to try to compete with and beat in the playoffs, because if you can beat them, most likely you have a chance to win the championship. As of right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves are 38-28. Realistically, they're a game and a half out of the number 3 seed. They need to put on a winning streak and try to create a cushion. And that's what I thought they was going to do, but I didn't really think Jimmy Butler was going to go down. So now that he has, they need to get back and try to just put themselves in contention to get that 3 seed. And if they can do that, they can get out of the first round. That'd be basically a amazing season, because everybody picked them to make the playoffs last year and they didn't. And this year it looks like they're a lock because they 10 games above 500. And if they can put it together and get that 3 seed, they might even get even further in the playoffs, depending on who they play. If they can play the Pelicans, or even if they play a team like the Nuggets, I think that's a pretty, or the Blazers. I feel like they can compete with both of those teams. I'm not saying they're a lock or they're going to be the favorites, but honestly, talent-wise, they're on the same talent of the Nuggets, of the Blazers, of the Pelicans, and they can beat them in a 7-game series if they make the adjustments. And Tom Thibodeau is a good coach. Defensively, they still a young team, but we'll see what happens. Check out my website, analysisPlayground.com. Link in the description, comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisPlayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm go.